Ouija boards have a reputation of being considered evil. It's said that demonic spirits use it as a portal to come into our world. But are Ouija boards actually portals just waiting to be opened by silly little teens just wanting to scare their friends for fun? Or is it just another family game you can pick off of any shelf at your local store? These are the rules and the warning signs of the Ouija board. I am your host, Millie, and I am so excited to be talking about this video today as someone who has had their own very scary experience with playing a Ouija board. And I know if you ever have, you probably do too. Now, I just want to preface this by putting a warning up on the screen, and just as a little PSA that I am not telling you to go play Ouija board. I am not suggesting you go play Ouija board. I am actually very against people playing Ouija boards from my own personal experience, especially if you don't know what you're doing or if you do not have a professional with you. Even then, I'm kind of still like, this video is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, now let's go ahead. Let's get in to the rules and the warning signs. If you were to ever, just like trip and, stumble upon a Ouija board sitting in front of you and somehow your hand and your fingertips just happen to like land on a planchette, you know what I mean? So, also, before we get into it, I gotta show you my shirt. Hold on. See? It's from the Witchboard Museum in Salem, which I'm not affiliated with it or anything like that, but I thought it was really, really cool when I went there, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's like $10 to get in. So, if you ever were in Massachusetts and around the Salem area, I highly, highly recommend it. The place is so cool. I think it is like the biggest collection of Ouija boards, at least in the country. I'm not sure if it's the world, but I know in the country, and the guy who owns it and owns all these Ouija boards, his name is John. People come from all over the world to go talk to him. I actually highly recommend it. It actually has the original patented Ouija board, which is super, super cool. So, but before we get into this video really, really quickly, after that, if you have not seen my previous video, I talk about the entire history of the Ouija board, but we're gonna pop a little bit in here. So a little bit about the history of the Ouija board and kind of how it kind of got reputation for being considered very evil, very bad, very quote-unquote demonic. And not everything paranormal supernatural is demonic. I'm just gonna sit here and say that it's not even close. 9 times out of 10 it is not, but there is a small percentage where things are. The media really puts it out there and whatnot, saying that everything's super demonic and everything's super evil, whatnot, and it's not. But let's hop into a little bit of the history. So the Ouija board was invented in 1890 by a guy named Charles Kennard. Now, if you've seen in my previous video, there's actually not like a exact person, but this guy is mostly credited for the invention of the Ouija board. And then it was patented and sold starting in 1891. And before that, in 1886, it was actually said in Ohio newspapers that a talking board was all the new rage. When the Ouija board was originally created, it was actually marketed as a family game. I know, a family game. It was marketed as a family game that was used to answer questions about your past, present, and future. Was the Ouija board actually created its own name? Now, the Ouija board got its reputation starting in the 1920s as evil. Obviously, in the religious groups, especially the Christian church, they do not see this as a good thing. They see it as something very evil, very demonic, because a book that was published in 1919 from the Catholic Church warning people against it. And later groups actually kept putting warnings of these boards. And it was solidified as evil in modern day pop culture in the 1973 movie The Exorcist. So, and not only this, but it was the rise of horror genre in this time, and people still had very religious views during this time, as you can probably see in the 1980s with Satanic Panic. So that's kind of like how it was really solidified in pop culture modern day, as we still see in movies today. I mean, we literally have Ouija series. So there's a really cool movie on Netflix called Veronica, and it's a true story about this girl who played a Ouija board and she got possessed, and she actually had passed away due to something evil coming from the board and taking over her body. And I believe it was said that she had seen it as her father and was kind of manipulated to believe it was her father, and it really wasn't. So there are, true stories about really bad things with this board, and there are people who have played it have nothing have ever happened. So, and also in the paranormal community, people believe that is a very useful tool in order to communicate with the other side, and others strongly are against its use as well, which is kind of my take just from my personal experience. Now that we hopped on a little bit of its history, how it kind of came to be in modern day pop culture, let's hop into the rules of the Ouija board. So rule number 1, never play alone. People believe that when you are alone, you are more vulnerable to whatever you are communicating with. Kind of like whenever if you've ever watched Ghost Adventures, Zach always says, Aaron, go in there alone.
Aaron, yeah. Come up here. I'm gonna send you alone by yourself right now, right off the bat.
No. Yeah.
Aaron, go into that laundry room where she got attacked. You coming? I'll be in there in a minute. Yeah.
See these regular isolation cells? Come on.
Yeah.
Dude, for real?
Because you are more vulnerable, you don't have multiple people around you. So some spirits believe maybe they could manipulate you a little bit more, because when you are alone, you are more vulnerable, just in general. Rule number 2, never play at 3 a.m. Now, this one is probably the biggest one that everyone has heard of. The reason that you don't play at 3 a.m. is because you've probably heard it's called the witching hour, where the veil between our world and the spirit world is more thin. So that means it makes it easier to not only talk to these spirits, but also for them to come over into our world or dimension. Rule number 3, never play in a graveyard. Never play in a graveyard. Don't do it. So honestly, some people think playing in a graveyard probably is a really good idea, because obviously there's going to be spirits there. It's literally just a bunch of dead people just chilling there, napping. I kind of see it personally as disrespectful, because a graveyard is where people are, they're finally laid to rest. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen videos of people in Teslas. It has like that feature where you can actually see the physical people around you, and people have driven them through graveyards, and they just see people like on their little screen, and when they look up, there's no one around them. That's creepy. So obviously graveyards are super active, but I think it's more just as a respect thing, because to me, I stay on the path because I don't even like walking over them. I don't know, it just feels a little icky to me. It just kind of feels a little like I feel like I'm walking on people. You get what I'm saying? So to me, I'm not a graveyard person. Are some of them absolutely beautiful? Yes, I love to go to the ones in New Orleans, especially Louisiana, because they have everything like above ground and it's spooky, but in a way it's also kind of beautiful. And it's just because there's so many tragedies, but still beautiful city from what I've seen. Number 4, never play in your own home. I think this is kind of a given, because if you for some reason do accidentally open a portal and a spirit does kind of come in, sometimes they would want to stay, and you just don't want that energy in your home. Your home is a place for you to feel safe, feel comfortable, and if you do contact an entity, specifically a more negative one, you just really don't want that in your home. I feel like that's kind of like a given in a way. Like that's your own space. It's not theirs. And sometimes they can be a little difficult, and you gotta try to be like, hey, like this is not your home, this is my home, and you just don't want an attachment. And don't ever play Ouija board in your own home. Rule number 5. Never play when you are physically or mentally in an unstable position. I feel like this one is also a given. Is sometimes when you're physically ill, you are also, mentally, and that puts you in such a vulnerable spot. So that can lead to, if you were to contact something evil and it does kind of come through, that entity just has really bad intentions. And not only are you already really down, it kind of sees that as an open invitation and be like, oh, that's an easy target to, possess you, take you over, or whatever it is, whatever kind of spirit or possibly demon it is. Rule number 6, be respectful. I feel like this is just common sense, but I know a lot of people who are not into the paranormal or supernatural, they kind of just see it as, I don't even know, like something that they can make fun of because they don't fully understand it. So, and a lot of them like to provoke spirits and be mean to them. But you got to remember that these were just people who have passed away. You know what I mean? Good or bad. Sometimes spirits are like, oh, they're not a non-believer. They're going to poke at them a little bit more. And I think you've just come into a space and you're just, as nice and respectful. They kind of see that. And I feel like it's just common courtesy, as well as treat others how you would want to be treated, even those who have passed away. So just be respectful. I think it's just a nice thing to do. Rule number 7, cleanse your space. You want to have very neutral space when you're doing this. You don't, maybe, or a more positive space, a neutral to positive. You don't want any negativity coming into this, because if you are putting negativity out there, you're just going to get that back. So if you put a neutral kind of energy to positive, that's exactly what you're going to get back. It kind of goes off of being respectful as well. When you're respectful and nice, usually that's kind of what you're going to get back. So one of the ways that you can cleanse your space, something simple as have a crystal with you. Lighter candles. You could even place salt around you, put it at the bottom of your doors, on your windowsills, because salt is said to, or even sugar, I believe, because it's said to, because it's white, it's pure. Something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure, but I have heard, obviously you've probably heard of, throw salt at it, you know what I mean? And I've even heard of people saying, place a silver coin underneath the board before you start playing, because I think silver is also something that's very pure to the earth. I've never heard of that. Something very new. I've never heard of that before. So when I was doing my research, I was like, I've never heard of placing a coin, or sometimes maybe even iron. Iron is said to ward off spirits completely as well. So maybe if you want to speak to a spirit, maybe not iron, but it definitely would help. Negativity kind of came through, if you know what I'm saying. Number 8. I feel like I'm an alien. I have come to this planet. Anyways, don't become addicted to playing the board. So kind of what I mean by that is, obviously people can you can get addicted to anything. Becoming addicted to the board, you just get really involved into it and you're using it constantly. So if you're using it constantly, obviously you are more get in contact with something. Whatever that entity is can kind of start to build trust with you, which is something very known that more negative spirits, especially demonic spirits, are doing and manipulating you. If you give it permission to come through and open that portal, it can completely destroy your life. Like I said, any addiction is going to destroy your life, especially when it's bad. And this is one of those bad ones. I mean, coffee, you're probably good. You know what I mean? This smells like a cup. Sipping it throughout the day, they say it's not good for your teeth because of all the sugar, but you know what I mean. I am on my day off. On a regular day, I only have one. Anyways, so don't get addicted to it. It can just become very bad, become very negative, and then it could just ruin your life. And you kind of just got to live your life day to day and do your best. Don't use it to maybe predict the future or anything like that either. Don't do that. That's not good either. And rule number 9. This is 4, but I can't get the other hand up. Rule number 9, and it's the most important rule there is. Always say goodbye. I think that's a given. Always say goodbye. Because when you are playing these types of games, you are opening a portal. You are opening invitation to speak to something that is in another world, in another dimension. And obviously, you're not going to know if it's good or evil unless you start to see warning signs, which I'm going to get into next. Let's get into the warning signs of the Ouija board. Wasn't that a good transition? That was an accident too, but always say goodbye. It's on the board for a reason, y'all. Don't get scared and run away. Be like, guys, get back. We gotta say goodbye at least. You gotta close that door, girl. Close it behind you and never look back. Warning sign number 1. If the planchette starts to count down from the numbers and the letters, that is a big, big warning sign that something not so nice, an evil presence, is trying to come through. It's trying to open up the portal to come through into our world. If you do see this happening, don't freak out. Don't take your hands off of that planchette. Make sure you move it to goodbye and close that door. Every single one of these is going to be, if you see this, stay calm. Don't take your fingers off the planchette. Move it to goodbye and close the door. Okay? Warning sign number 2. If the planchette moves to all 4 corners. The planchette moves uncontrollably, and it's going to go each the 4 corners. It's going to go over again and again and again and again. I don't know if it'll be hard to move the planchette. Warning sign number 3. If it starts to make a figure 8. That is another warning sign. Somebody trying to come through. Move it to goodbye. Close that door. You see how my door's closed? That's, you technically, it's slightly open. No cracks in the door. It is locked, sealed, and shut. Warning sign number 4. You've probably heard of this one. And this one is if the planchette goes back and forth from the letters Z and O over and over and over again. That is a specific demon trying to come through the board. It is actually known as the Ouija board demon. Why this guy is so focused on using the board as a portal to come through, I'm not sure. I have not done my full research on this demon because it freaks me out just a little bit. You know what I mean? I am very, what's the word, intrigued by the paranormal and the supernatural. But when it comes to entities like this one, it's kind of where I'm kind of like, you see that door? You see how it's cracked open? I'm gonna close it, lock it, and throw the key away. Yeah. So obviously, you know what I mean? Don't freak out. Move it to goodbye. Close that door. That's gonna be the motto for this episode. You know how Bailey Sarian has the motto for her true crime series, Get Better Idols? Mine's gonna be close that door. Mine is close the door. Warning sign number 5. Now this one is a little bit different. This spirit is very, very manipulative. And this one specifically is a demon. That is what demons are known for. They're tricksters. They manipulate you. That's why they say when you see a little girl and it's like, come play with me, it's a demon. That's why Annabelle is. Girl. It's disguised as something very sweet and very innocent. So with this one, if you are talking to something through the board and it sounds like it's a loved one you're talking to, it says, oh honey, it's Aunt Susan. You're doing so great, sweetie, but I could really help you. Could you keep moving the planchette to all 4 corners and I'll be there to help you. That's not your Aunt Susan. That's not your Aunt Susan. Move the planchette to goodbye and close the door. Close the door. close it, lock it, throw away the key, throw away the key. That's not your Aunt Susan. It's not. I'm so sorry. I know. And some people have had this experience. Like I said, in the movie Veronica, it's said to be her dad, and it wasn't her passed away dad. It was a evil spirit, something demonic that was manipulating her and using her dad as a front. You've seen this, and if you've ever seen The Conjuring 2, what is it? The guy's name is Bill. I forget his last name. He had owned the home, died in the chair in the corner, and it was Valak that was actually controlling him. And it wasn't him, it was actually a demon using him as a puppet. No. Coffee break. So if you believe you're talking to a passed away loved one, you might not be, especially if they're saying things that don't maybe sound like them. It's like, I don't think Aunt Susan would say something like that. Or that's not really how Aunt Susan really spoke. It's probably not them. Move the planchette to goodbye and close that door. Warning sign number 6. These are kind of things that we're never going to ask. We're never going to do. Instead of like, you're going to see this, you're kind of just gonna not do it, really. One of the biggest things is never ask when you are going to go. And the reason for this is even though the board was promoted as a board, you can just ask questions about your past, present, and future. So if it is something that is maybe more negative, it could completely just be messing with you. And it's gonna tell you that you're gonna get, eaten by a squid if you go in the water, and that's how you're gonna go. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Like, it's probably just scary you, or it can also play on your fear. So if you have a fear of flying and it says, oh my god, you're gonna die in a plane crash. I mean, is it a possibility? Yes. But you know what I mean? It might just be playing off of your biggest fears. Mine is open water. Could be anything. The squid thing could be true. You know what I mean? But is that really likely to happen? No. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of one of those like it's not a little genie that's gonna be like, it's not going to be accurate. I don't think people really want to know that. I know I don't. So warning sign number 7. Never ask if heaven or hell is real. So, and I say this because this kind of plays into people's beliefs and religion as well. Obviously, you have people who don't believe in it, and you have people that do, or people who are in between. So it kind of depends on if something does come through at all, good or bad. Obviously, it's going to tell you what they believe. And those who do believe in it, especially if whatever you're talking to says, no, it's not real. Could it be, a negative spirit? Could it be demonic? Absolutely. And also, that's your personal belief. Don't let something through a board tell you if it's real or not. Number 8 is never burn the board. And this kind of tails into number 9, which is if you want to properly dispose the board. Burning it is not the way to do it. People believe, oh, burn it, it's gone. No, what you're doing is you're burning the door. I'm gonna make an analogy. So you burn the door, okay, guess what? There's no door to close or open. It's just completely open now. That doorway is open now. Anything can come in and through or whatever like that. You don't want that. So you don't want to burn it. So if you want to properly dispose of the board, could you just get a new door? Yes. But it is said that there is a proper way to dispose of the board if you want to. You are going to rip the board into 7 pieces. You are going to douse it in holy water, and then you are going to bury it. Bury it as far in the ground as you want to. If you want to be 6 feet, girl, dig down 6 feet and throw it in. Now, why 7 pieces is considered the correct amount to tear it into? They say that when you are ripping it, dousing in holy water, and burying it, you are actually you are severing the spiritual connection with the board, basically rendering it useless now. I don't know if you can see, I think my cat's up there. Oh, yep. You see her? if you do have a quote unquote Ouija board that you need to get rid of, please do not burn it. Tear it into 7 pieces, douse it in holy water, and bury it as far in the ground as you would like. I've also heard of people just kind of throwing them away or like giving them to someone. Like I've seen them at, garage sales. I have seen them like twice at a garage sale back in the day. Did I try and purchase them when I was a young kid? Yes. Did my mom tell me no? Yes. And I always really wanted to do them and do like an investigation of our old house because it was very haunted. But my mom always said no. She didn't want it to, stir up activity or bring anything, bad into the home, which I completely understand and I respected her wishes. I never did it. I've never brought a Ouija board into that home. So when we did it at my friend's house, which was also super haunted, by the way. So yeah, but I did have another friend who had a Ouija board. I don't know if they ever played it. They probably did. I think her younger brother did or something. And it used to sit up in their closet, just sitting there, whatever, like that. And I think one day they went to like clean it out and whatnot, and they seen it and they were like, you know what? Bad juju, let's just get rid of it. So, they threw it in the trash, whatnot. Trash was taken out sometime that week. And, the next time they went in their closet to, look for something, whatever, like that, they said they found it sitting at the top of their closet exactly where they always kept it. After throwing it away, I was like, girl, who'd you piss off? Literally. So I have heard of people trying to throw it away and it just comes right back to them. So if you have one that you need to properly dispose of, I would try that. And I would double check, and these are not anything factual. This is just what I have learned from the internet, probably like you were going to do. So if you look up how to properly dispose of one, that is what comes up, at least from Google. I'm just saying. But if you want to, I would probably go to like a metaphysical shop or actually contact a medium and be like, hey, I have a Ouija board. I really want to get rid of it. How do I properly dispose of one? Just to double check, because Google isn't always accurate. I would try to find someone who is a professional in their field. Like, you shouldn't take any medical advice from the internet. You should go to your doctor or do like extensive research. You know what I mean? Because you're going to know your body best. And that's on period. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, you already know what to do. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn on the post notifications, all the jazz. And if you want to see fun videos, go check out my TikTok and also my Instagram. I try posting over there as much as I can. Also, let me know if you guys have your own personal Ouija board stories. I would love to hear about them. Leave them in the comments below. I would absolutely love to read them. Eventually, one day, I want to have my own series on here where I talk about your guys' personal paranormal experiences, places you've been, Ouija board experiences, good or bad. I'm talking both. And I'll see you guys. She's playing with her thing. Does anybody else's animals just love to make noise and play the minute you hit record? Anybody else's? Because I know mine does. Bye.